All right, Ricky, the team's back at home here at Shell Energy Stadium on Saturday. How's the team navigated preparations for this match against Seattle?
Yeah, we're excited to be back. It's been a good week of work, after a difficult result in DC, but players have worked extremely hard, and it's good to be back in the Houston Heat as we prepare for a big game against Seattle. But we're looking forward to it. We're ready, and we've been working hard.
Thank you for that. We'll go ahead and open it up to questions. Alex, go ahead.
Yes. First of all, Coach, can you hear me? Let's see here.
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Great. Well, for better or worse, Coach, I guess you can hear me. But thank you for joining us, Coach. And I'm glad you're smiling. I know these must be difficult times. Tactically, with the injuries that the team is going through, how do you adjust to Seattle, a team that under Coach Harvey is going to come in prepared? What have you modified going into the match against Seattle?
For us, it's all about focusing on what we can do. We know what Seattle bring to the table. We know they're a team who try and stretch you and use spaces, and they like to play into the nine who finds a pocket. And we know what they're going to do against us. For us, it's about trying to bring our mentality, our principles to the game. And for us, it's always been about building in our style of play, playing with three at the back and using our wing backs. And we constantly talk about it's a village and those players, and how when we have injuries or when we have players that are unavailable can come in and help continue the style of play and work on the principles that we want to work on. So for us, it's about sticking to those, not veering away from them, not going away from them too much, but couple of injuries, but we still have players available that we know that can help create one of the performances we're looking for.
Coach, talk to us a little bit about Avery Patterson. To me, she's come a long way in a short time, and I think she's doing it all. Defensively, she's solid, and the transition, she's amazing. At least that's what I've seen, Coach. But talk to us about Avery, please.
Yeah, look, listen, for me, the kid works incredibly hard, and that's one of the foundations that we talk about, right? We, as Houston Dash, we talk about the foundation of our performances are working hard, and then we build on that. Can we get into dangerous areas? Can we win the ball back immediately? But the foundation is always about working hard and earning the right to play. And I think what you're seeing from Avery is that's part of her foundation. Every game you're going to get a certain level of performance from Avery, and that's what this league's about. We talk about that all the time. There's moments in this league where you have to be consistent, and then the moments when somebody produces a piece of magic or you can take advantage of a mistake is where it counts. And I think what you're seeing with Avery is you're seeing a consistency to her game. And that's incredibly important. That's something we ask from everyone. And we've had players this year that have done that. But Avery has a great mentality as well. She's very positive. Even when something goes against her, she looks at the positive in the moment. Can she learn from it? Can she take it and improve her game with it? So I think going into this environment where it's always difficult, if you have that solid mentality and you have that foundation of hard work, you're going to put yourself in a good position. And that's what Avery's done. She's done that consistently.
Coach, I don't want to monopolize, but one more, if you don't mind. Balancing any team requires the psychological approach to, and in my amateur level of coaching, there's some players that are motivated by being a little harsher. Others, you can't approach the same way. The Dash team, your team this season, with multiple, I'm going to say personalities in a good way. I'm not being critical.
Yeah.
How do you juggle those? Because maybe Avery is one approach, maybe Jane is a different approach, and maybe someone like Jane, and I'm speculating this, she doesn't need to be told much because she's been doing it so long. Talk to us about that approach, especially in the moment that the team is going through. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, that's what I call the art of coaching. Everyone's different. And like you say, maybe something I say to Avery will sink in one way, and another conversation I have with Jane will be slightly different. But what I would say is that's the art of being a coach, figuring out what makes people work and what doesn't make people work. And I try and do that with all the players. The one thing we try and do is we try and make sure we treat everyone the same way. So that's the most important thing. And, you know, I think last week after the game, I spoke about dash codes, where we hold each other accountable to those dash codes. And then that way it's no one gets treated any differently. We expect a certain standard from everyone. And that's just what I try and do. I try and hold a standard for everyone, and then realize when I speak to people, it'll be a different way of perhaps communicating to them. Some people I might communicate more frequently with, other people it might just be a short, quick conversation. So that's the art of coaching for me, and that's one of my jobs. That's why I get paid, you know, and I think I try and do a good job at that.
You have, Coach, and I know it's not easy. Thank you today for your words, and best of luck against Seattle on Saturday.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Coach.
Theo, go ahead.
Hey Ricky, how you doing?
Theo, how are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Love the sound of the dash codes. Can you give me an example of this week of how a player or certain players were kind of holding those dash codes, or examples of, in training where they were being executed or carried out?
I just think respect was the one thing that I spoke about after the game. That was like one of our codes, and like respecting the environment and working incredibly hard in the environment. And this is the one thing I love about this group, right? All the things that we've been through this season, every day they turn up and they respect our environment and they put everything into the training session. And as a coach, that's the most important thing to me when I step out on the field. Regardless of the results, regardless of all the things that are going on around us, all the things that are being written about us, do they turn up, work incredibly hard, and respect the environment? And that's one thing they do every week that I can put my hand on my heart and say, this is why I love working in this environment, because they respect this environment. And that's the most important thing. And that dash code sits at the top of our list.
After last week, Diana spoke to some journalists and just said that she was looking for clarity from the club, not necessarily criticizing you or Fran, just saying, I would like, as a player, clarity about the future of the coaching situation. Do you have any clarity to offer that the club has mentioned to you over these next 6 games?
Well, my job is to turn up every day and do my job, work with the players, work with the staff, keep leading the team. And that's what I try and do. With regards to Deanna, I've spoken with Deanna. We're both on the same page. We both understand what's expected of the group. She understands what's expected of her. I have a tremendous amount of respect for her. She's part of our leadership team. And I believe she has a tremendous amount of respect for me. So Dee knows what's expected of us going into these last games as we go towards the end of the season. For me, the most important thing is we just focus on one game at a time. I've said this throughout the whole season, that we build and we focus on what the next game is. We can't afford to talk about what happened in previous games or after previous games. We can only afford to focus on the game in front of us. And right now, the game in front of us is Seattle. And that's where all our energy is right now. All we're going to do is focus on what we need to do to perform against Seattle. And we're ready for it. We're working incredibly hard. Today, the energy was great. It's incredibly warm in Houston right now. So that's going to be something of a challenge for Seattle because they're not used to this heat. But we're super excited for the game. We're super excited to play in front of our fans and celebrate the night. And we're looking forward to it.
Apologies for sort of staying on the topic, but just there is no clarity then. It's all about just focusing on the game.
No, there's clarity. I mean, we all know our roles. We all know what's expected of us, and we're focusing on the game and we're preparing ourselves for the game. So the clarity is everyone knows their roles. Everyone knows what's expected of them. Everyone knows the standards. And the most important thing in this window right now is our game against Seattle. That's the most important thing.
Last thing I wanted to ask about was you have, or the staff have added 2 new assistant coaches. I think maybe Hero arrived a little bit before the other one. Can you just mention like what they're bringing to the team?
Yeah, well, I mean, Hero brings experience. Hero's been in this environment for a number of years, which is invaluable to us in this moment. He also brought in he knows the players. So that was incredibly important. And Emma Wright-Cates, she comes in from SMU where she was an assistant coach, and she brings in a wealth of experience just from a playing experience and a coaching experience. So for us, that was incredibly important that we brought people in that could jump straight onto the field and work with the players. And they have. Emma's jumped straight in and she's working with the players, and it's been really good from that regards. We also brought in Chloe. Chloe's an analyst. So now we have 2 analysts. So we've really bolstered the staff where there's moments where players are getting extra information, not just on the field, but off the field. They can work with the coaches a little bit more than that has happened in the season. So from that regards, we're in a really good space, and we're excited to have Hero back. He's been back for a while. Emma was cleared last week just before the Washington game. So she's had a full week here now. And we're looking forward to the game on Saturday with Seattle, and both of them being on the bench with us.
Appreciate all that, Ricky. I really appreciate you taking the time and answering questions as well. Good luck on Saturday.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Anything else for Ricky before we wrap up? Okay, we'll close it with that. Thanks for jumping on, everyone. We'll have this and additional items available later today.